Welcome back to the Baschamania podcast. I am your host, as always, Justin Basch. And today we have Beau Bartlett on the show, who just won a junior world bronze medal over in Russia. And Beau's someone who's super interesting to me. He's a guy that I don't think you can have a conversation with and not become a fan of. He's a great kid and he's a graphic designer. And I love that. It's obviously my background. I own a marketing company. So that's been my whole world for the last decade and a half, 2 decades now. So a lot of fun. I'm excited for this one. This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Attack. If you haven't downloaded the Attack app yet, I'm not sure what you're doing. This app is incredible. It's a fitness and training nutrition app that's geared towards wrestlers that is like having a coach in your pocket. So you have a coach and tips and you get helps. That's not a word. You get help with your diet, with your workouts, with nutrition, with your training, with your recovery. And they have Jordan Burroughs, Sarah Hildebrandt, Reese Humphrey, so many great wrestlers involved in it. And it's only going to get better. I talk to these folks regularly. I know what's coming. You do not want to miss this. Make sure you download the Attack app today. It's ATAC. Go try to climb that leaderboard and let me know what you think. DM me, whether it's criticism, whether it's praise. I can handle it because I'll just go tell those guys. So download Attack. Thank you to Attack for continuing to sponsor this podcast. With that said, guys, by the way, if you're not subscribed on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, ROKFIN, wherever you watch or listen to this, go subscribe. Make sure to get notifications as soon as the show drops. With that said, let's bring on Beau. Episode 132, Baschamania podcast. We're back. Junior world bronze medalist, Beau Bartlett, fresh off a plane from Russia. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
I've been wanting to have you on for a while for a number of reasons. Being a marketing guy, the fact that you do graphic design has always piqued my interest for years. But I'm going through like some topics I wanted to talk about. And it's funny because the first name obviously is like, all right, let's talk about the Junior World Championships. And then I'm like, time out. Can we talk for a minute about the fact that it's in Russia? Like, my wife is just becoming a big wrestling fan. I talk about it on this podcast all the time. And she's always seen the places where people are wrestling, like Iran, Russia. It's places you would never go vacation. Is this your first time going? I know you went to Guatemala for Pan Ams. Is this your first place going somewhere like Russia?
For wrestling, definitely. I've been to a couple other countries just for vacation. But
yeah.
Traveling to Russia, wrestling, they're 9 hours ahead. That was different.
What was it like submerging in the Russian culture for a week?
Landing at 1 a.m., taking COVID test, and not our nice COVID test where, you have a swabber. They prick my finger, my blood with a pipette at maybe 2 a.m, 3 a.m, check into a hotel. And there's some adversity there. That was a little difficult. But overall, it was pretty smooth. It's just everything's different. I'm normally a pretty good traveler, but it was different. Very different.
What was the food situation like? I know like for the Olympics, they were making the entire USA team like American food to kind of keep you regulated. Did you guys have that there?
I think it was maybe like a half and half type thing. Obviously, they had eggs, and that was about as American as it got. Scrambled, watery eggs.
So they weren't from chickens.
No, we actually, as soon as we got to the plane, they offered. I didn't drink it. No, I think 2 people drank it.
Goat milk or whatever?
Horse milk.
Horse milk, yeah.
Which I looked up. After the fact, and it's mildly alcoholic. So I'm very happy that drank it. Like right off the plane. So I'm happy. I'm proud of us on that one.
Horse milk. Yeah, I've never even heard of horse milk. Who tried? Did they like it?
No one liked it. And then we found out it was a joke. They don't drink it either. They just offered the Russians. They don't drink it either. Really, they just offered it up to us.
So it's like a gag gift. That's clever. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to insult you, and it's a gag gift. Mm-hmm. That's crazy gag gift. So you get to Russia. Now, going into Russia, there's so much hype because of the Olympics, especially NLWC State College. Four Olympic medalists, David, Bexad, Snyder, Gilman. What was your perspective and energy kind of going into the Junior World Championships?
I felt prepared. Just as an individual, I felt very prepared. And then if I were to compare like my whole team, the whole Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, I knew that I see what the guys are doing. I see how it's paying off. I know we're all in the same practices. So there's really no fear. It was more just like eagerness to compete, eager to like just go out there and do what we all do.
And it seems like at both junior world team trials and here, it looked like you felt about as good as you could look. Like a buddy of mine was texting me last night and I was telling him you were coming on. He's like, dude, you got to ask about that underhook. It looked amazing. Like it did look like you were like yourself. Did you feel as good as you could?
I definitely felt the best I felt in a while. I feel like there's always, I would hope I'm not capped out, you know?
I mean, like feel as good as you felt.
I hope this is it. But I definitely felt really, really good. I had the whole summer, really. It was just, obviously there were some mini breaks and traveling around. And I think that's how I was able to peak for this. Yeah. But definitely the way I was wrestling, it's something that it wasn't really anything new. It was something I've done for a long time. I went away from it this year in like the college season. I just tried, I was learning all kinds of different things. And I was trying to wrestle that way. My bagel bag is trying to fly in my face right now, but just wrestling how I know how to wrestle and picking up small things here and there. It's really paying off.
Now, I wish Chenzo was here for this. By the way, for those listening, Chenzo had to go run to a practice at Stanford, so he couldn't make it. But one of the things Chenzo and I always talk about on here is folkstyle or freestyle. And I'm interested in what your preference is if you had to pick one.
I love freestyle so much more. Although the thing I like about folkstyle isn't I like the hype surrounding folkstyle matches, because really the only time you can get hype around a freestyle match is if it's the world championship finals or like the world championship medal matches. Even then, then you have the whole country on your side, and that's fun. But man, every single folkstyle match, it seems like you have a whole like college fan base. You have all that. So I like the dynamics around specifically like high school matches. They're all right, but really big, high profile freestyle matches are probably my favorite.
There is nothing like the NCAA finals. And there's an argument all the time about if college was freestyle, this and that. Like, and I hope Shane Sparks is listening. I know he listens to this all the time. He's a huge folk style guy. And I get it. Like, there's definitely, I don't want to say, I know he loves everything about folk style. He loves the mat returns. He loves the riding. Like, I get it. But I do also think people who love folk style are a little clouded by thinking of their experience either competing or watching folk style. Like, if I think about folk style, I think about there's nothing like the NCAA tournament. Nothing like it. Like the fact that there's 20,000 people in an arena, and then 3 weeks later, there's the US Open in Vegas usually, where you can just walk up, and if you want to see a Penn State kid, all 15 of you are sitting right there in a corner. Kids just walk and do up to you before a match. Hey, can you sign this? Hey, can I get a picture? It's so accessible.
Yeah.
Like the NCAAs, the atmosphere so I think a lot of people, when they think folk style, they do think of that excitement because you can't beat it. Like, I can't wait. Even I think the last folk style event I was at was Big Tens in Jersey. And that was just rowdy. Like, people are rooting for kids, not even from their fan base because they're so into it. So that's fun. I'm looking forward to this season so freaking much. I hope I'm able to go again to Big Tens, NCAAs. What's your perspective heading into the college season and looking back on last year's season?
I think just room to improve, jumping off point. I love what I'm doing. Love the place I'm at. So I think it's just going in every day, having fun, working hard, and it's just enjoying every day.
I feel like I asked this a lot with Penn State wrestlers specifically because there's so many good high-level guys coming into the room. But what was your transition like from where you come out of high school, 4-time national prep champ, and then like normally I couldn't even win JV county tournament. Like, there's a lot more guys like me than like you. And when you do that and you win 4 championships, you're the big dog. And then you walk into a room where everybody's decorated with those accolades. Like everybody's so decorated, and not even just on your teammates. Like as guys like you are coming in the room now, and you have the Snyders, the David Taylors, the world Olympic champions in the room. What was that transition like to you from high school to college?
I think there's two different ways to like that people come in to make this transition. And I mean, you probably either come in and say, "Man, I'm the man," and you go with it. You keep firing, and you're confident every day, and you're ready to rock and roll. But then, like on the other hand, which comes as a surprise, I don't think I've told anyone this. I've never told anyone this, but I came in and I'm like, "Wow, I am terrible at wrestling." Wow, and like the confidence, like my confidence has always been like high, like cool as a cucumber, ready to rock and roll. But this year I was like, wow, I'm not good. Do I know how to wrestle? Like every day, every single day. I loved what I was doing. It was still fun coming to practice. But I was like, man, this is so fun. I need but how do you even because you're wrestling every day, you're wrestling with a different national champion or Olympic team member. Like it's crazy. And like guys I'd looked up to, guys like Zane, Gilman, Bo Nickel, like just any of these guys. I'm just like, wow, this is not going well. But I think over time, over the course of the year, as I got more mat time, as I got closer with all these guys, and I saw them less as like, oh, that's this guy I read about, more it's like that's a teammate. And now I think I'm back. I know I'm back on path to how I was in high school. My whole mindset, and not just my mindset, but following through with the actual actions. So now I feel I'm in a good place, and I know I just do what I keep doing, and I know I'm not terrible.
Yeah, I'd say you're not terrible. I mean, I gotta imagine too that you probably weren't used to that either in high school, because you definitely, like you said, every day you're going with a national champ. In high school, like you were in a really great room, great
In high
coaches.
school, I think I got taken down in the room once or twice throughout all 4 years of high school.
That's just wild. And that's why I think some guys don't, if you don't mature quick enough, if you don't like mature mentally with your physical performance and mental capacity, I think it's easy to get into that trap, because like you said, it's kind of reestablishing your confidence. Like I love being the dumbest guy in the room. I love it. It's like it's humbling. Like I'm proud of what I've made of myself. I'm proud of the successes that I've had. I work very hard, and I'm proud of that. But then when I go in a room with 10 guys who are more successful than me, and I like hanging out with people a lot of times that are older than me. So more often than not, they're more successful than me. I want to be in that position, but man, it's definitely humbling. You have to remind yourself, like, it's okay to be where you are right now. You don't have to be where they are yet. And I'm sure it's a bit, if you're coming in the room for the first time and you're wrestling a guy like Zane, I want to say Yanni told me a story close to that. Like Yanni came to Cornell for the first time and got whooped by Nashon or something. Like it was very similar. So I imagine that it definitely takes a lot of adjusting to confidence, and that like getting whooped by somebody for the first time. Oh man, that's wild. So another thing that is interesting in your transition to college is NIL now, because the Bo Nickels, the David Taylors, the Jason Nolfs, the Zanes, these were teammates who had a lot of success, but they didn't get to capitalize off that success in college, which is a blessing that you don't have to worry about it. But there's also more potential upside, and there's more potential downside, because if people are focusing way too much on their brand and not winning, that's obviously a bad thing. But you're also in the position now where the more success you have, the more you'll be able to capitalize off of that and set yourself up for the future. So I'm curious what NIL being implemented kind of means to you.
I think for me, this whole NIL thing, not NIL, it's pretty cool. And I don't think I pay too much attention to it, but I don't know. I guess I put it in. I'm not putting in a crazy, like Roman. He puts in work.
Yep.
And he does it in a good way. But then there's some people that don't really put any time. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I'll
Sure.
post somewhat regularly, but overall, I don't. My end goal probably isn't wrestling. Like it's wrestle, while I can do all I can, push myself, but then get out and do something in like a more business professional
Sure.
sense. I'm not sure what route that's gonna take. Maybe be like an attorney or something. So this is gonna go full,
Wow.
but while the time is here, and so that's another thing. I can't really post anything too crazy because if you want to go the attorney route, there's some guys that could their name image like this, they could maybe fall on some specific things that as a future attorney, if that works out, then it's just I say, oh, when he was young, he was posing with like all kinds of crazy things, and
I know.
we're trying to keep that a healthy image. So that's basically my main thing right now. Go in a positive way, grow the whole social media presence without being the crazy entertainer guy.
Yeah, and it's wild because I just saw that the executive producer of Jeopardy was just assigned the role. I think he gave himself the role because he was executive producer, but he literally just stepped down a week later because comments surfaced, on a podcast he did. I don't know what the comments are. I just saw like the headline basically that because of the comments made, he's stepping down. And that was like 2013, 2014. It wasn't that long ago. But I know for me, like I got Facebook and Twitter and everything after I started the company. Like I started my company in 2008. And then I wasn't on any social media yet. And then 2009, 2010, I got on it primarily because I learned really quick, hey, social media is a great way to build relationships, to create exposure and create awareness for something. So it worked out for the company. But thankfully, I've always had that perspective of what will a prospective client think? I was single at the time. What will my future wife think if she sees this? Like, and still, like, I go through my Facebook, like, on this day, and I'm like, delete, delete, delete. Like, and it's not even bad. You just
look at it like, well, maybe I
right.
didn't.
Right, exactly. And I feel like so much of social media, like the last couple of years, I think social media is really changing to where it's more documenting and it's more just kind of at least for me anyways, like capturing moments both professionally, personally. But back then, I mean, I was using Facebook like it was Twitter. I'm just like
Yeah.
the most dumbest things, like, Justin, you're not inspiring anybody by like putting that. Nobody cares that you're up in the gym. So it's interesting though that like I didn't do that until after I started a company, let alone get all the way through high school. I never went to college, but it wasn't until after I started the company. So there was at least a degree. If it wasn't for that, I can't imagine the stuff that I would have out there. I'm like, even the stuff that I thought at the time was good. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So you do have Bono's edits, which I'm super curious about because you've been doing that for like 5 years or something. And I never really followed high school wrestling too much. I've told the story a lot for the podcast listeners. I'm sorry I'm saying this again, but like when I became friends with Cal and he became a client of mine, I started really following his career as a coach. Then I started really following his athletes. And then as they became friends and clients, I really started following college wrestling. And then as those kids graduated, I really started following men's freestyle and then women's freestyle when Helen became a client. So for me, I wrestled in high school, was absolutely terrible. So I never followed it too much. You obviously know who the really good kids are. And I had heard your name, but I remember like following you or something when I saw like your edits, like somebody posted a commitment graphic. And then I'm like, who's making these? And then I saw that you were a really good wrestler too. And I'm like, man, this is wild. How did you start making those graphics? Like, what did you start doing?
In 8th grade, there's a photographer, and he was for all like the champions of this one tournament. He made an awesome graphic of all like just like the 14 champs because it was high school, and I loved this graphic. I made it my profile picture on everything. I was posting it, reposting it all over the place, and then I just got it got a little redundant. I got tired of seeing the same graphic over and over again. It was awesome, but it got
Yep.
old. So then I was like, oh, how can I do this? So I was looking at YouTube and I was trying to figure it out. And my first graphics actually still posted on my Bono's edits page. Bono's
I
design.
just went back and looked. It was a different edit of you.
Yeah, and that was the first one I made. And I look at that, I'm like, man, that's also just terrible.
You can't look at old design work. You just cannot do it.
I keep it there. You know, I'm all over the place. I'm standing. I have words covering me, and then my head is chopped off behind. It's just it's cool. I look at it. That was the first one, and then I like slowly started making ones for my high school teammates, just for free, totally free, just like making them. And then some people I knew from around the country, I started making them, and then I just kept doing it. And over time, they slowly improved. A lot of YouTube. It was entirely just YouTube figuring that one out. And then this year, I actually took a graphic design class, and assignments that should have taken a week or so, I was getting these done in an hour, 2 hours, finished with like a 101%. I don't know how I got bonus. I don't know how I did it, but and I was flying through. So we might minor in graphic design. If I don't know if I take more classes, we'll see. It's very natural for me just because I've put time.
Yeah, it seems that. And you know, I never went to college for anything I do with, you know, I started with websites, pro wrestling news websites in like 98, 99, 2000. And then I kind of like YouTube wasn't even around then to like look stuff up. Like you literally, if you want to see how a website was made, you right click, you click view page source, and you'd look and you'd see, okay, B means bold. Okay. I means italic. And so that's literally you would replicate it. And then when you're working with the websites, there's like, back then it was pro wrestling websites, and there were these cutouts that basically whenever you're posting news, you wanted the best graphic or image possible. So if you had the rare photo that nobody else had, you'd get more juice. Your site, your news was better. So I remember literally downloading Photoshop to learn how to cut out somebody. And then from there, it's just one of those things where you slowly learn more and more. And it got to the point where that was from to like 2005, 6. By 2008, when I started the company, I started hiring designers and developers all over the world because I'm like, okay, this guy's lights out. This guy's lights out. Because it's hard to do everything with digital. Like you said, so much of it is like YouTube. Go on and you say, I want to do this. How do I do that? Or what's this effect? Or you just watch somebody you really like. But I can tell with your stuff, like it's really good. Like the quality is good. It's not, there are some people who try to make graphics and it's very cookie cutter. It's very blurry. It's just not good. I think with design, I always put ads out to try to hire new people and bring in new talent. And I'll hire contract workers all the time. And I'm always like, show me your work. And like, here you go. Here's 10 flyers I did. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm sorry. Like, this is not what our clients have come to expect for quality. Like, I'm sorry. That's our biggest struggle. Do you have aspirations to do stuff? I know you mentioned maybe wanting to be an attorney, which is a heck of a lot more school than graphic design, because graphic design requires like a computer with YouTube. Do you have aspirations to do stuff with graphic design, marketing, all that?
I think it's more of it's in the hobby category, definitely. Yeah. Still, it's in the spot where I enjoy it every time I'm making a graphic. It's and in wrestling season they come up a lot more. It's a whole weird. It's a strange timing.
Do people DM you and say, "Hey, I want a commitment graphic. I want this. I want that"?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually have like, I figured out, once I figured out the automated response button on Instagram, it was so much easier. I have like 5 different ones, whatever they're asking, I just click on that one. But it's definitely still a hobby. It's just fun to do. But it's also nice. Like it's cool when it's someone I know, or maybe like a younger guy or someone from a teammate. Maybe they're transferring somewhere, or they're going into college, and I always like to help them out, and that's really fun to see my small little name next to someone. It's cool, and I think it's funny that it's a little ironic because like Beau knows. Who does Beau know? And it'll be like, oh well, well, Beau knows Robert Howard to Penn State. Beau knows like so-and-so here, and just all over the place. So it's a little play on words.
Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our friends at Manscaped, another partner and sponsor of the show, Manscaped. If you listen to this podcast before, you know we love these guys. They've been with us for like 6 months now. We're big fans. And all of you listeners that are supporting the podcast, first of all, thank you very much. And buying this product, everybody loves it. I get a lot of text and a lot of DMs about this. And as funny as it is, like, I know some people kind of laugh, like Manscaped, you know, the promos coming, Lawnmower 4.0, but so many of you actually love it. It's one of the reasons we keep going with them, because I think it brings value to the listeners. Guys, this Lawnmower 4.0, this thing is lights out. It's rechargeable. It's got wireless charging. It's waterproof. It's got a travel lock, LED spotlight, power status indicator, skin safe replaceable blades. You can pop these on and off just like that. They have the weed whacker. Guys, any nose hair, ear hair, gets rid of it instantly. These products are so well made, and I stand behind them 100%. So everybody needs these little groomers. You need these grooming tools if you take care of yourself. You just do. So if you're going to have these in your bathroom, go get a Manscaped one. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code CHENZO, CENZO, CHENZO, who will be back in the podcast soon. Get 20% off. Go buy a Lawnmower 4.0. College kids, you're heading back to school. Look good, feel good, wrestle good. You know what it is. I don't got to tell you. Go get a Lawnmower 4.0. This thing is state-of-the-art, designed for grooming, designed for it perfectly. And you might think, it's a groomer. Of course it's designed for it. No, but they really thought about everything. Even this little spotlight, this flashlight, take it right in the shower with you. It's great. So guys, go to manscaped.com. Use promo code CHENZO, CENZO, for free shipping and 20% off. All right, let's get back to Beau. Yeah, I like it. And it's awesome. I know the feeling like building websites for people. You know, we just launched Roman's new website, and I think I actually have to talk to Yanni in a little bit. His website's all done. We're getting ready to launch it, and we're going through right now, just adding content. And it's so fun, like, to be able to contribute what you can do to help somebody else in an area where they're not good. Like, that's awesome. Now, do you want more business? Like, if people are listening and they want like a graphic or a logo or whatever, like, do you want the DMs or do you not want anything right now?
I'm on top of it. I'm always making graphics. I think I have a lot more graphics than people think I make too. So
do you make like wrestling graphics? Like
Yes.
Like what? Like, give me an example.
I've made food menus. I've revamped business logos. I mean,
dude, you're hired. BASCH Solutions hired on the spot.
I've been doing a lot, but the thing is, it's so much that there's some separation in quality, because I'll make pretty much every graphic, and so not everyone has professional photos. So like, that's how I got so much business in the beginning, because if you want, it kind of like it matched like the consumer and the supplier. Like we matched our quality. So like a local little like high school kid wants a graphic. I'm a high school guy. It's very feasible. We can do it. Whereas if you want to go to an actual photographer, graphic artist at the time, it's a lot of work, and you don't have photos. You have to schedule a whole like photography, like photo session and all that stuff. And so, but like for a while, once I started improving, I was like, man, these kids, they just have like a blurry photo. Their parent took from the stands on an iPhone 4. It doesn't look right. So for like about a year, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm just like, I would tell them like, all right, go in front of a wall, wear a singlet, take a photo, this portrait mode. I can work with it, and I can just convert the file.
Any iPhone photo is good enough.
It looks good. It looks good if you're close enough, right?
That's why I literally just tweeted last week that it was like a Tony Rotundo appreciation tweet, because his photos, like, he's got wrestlersorwarriors.com.
Yeah.
And I pay Tony every single month a number that's very fair. And I use his photos. Initially, it was just for the podcast guests. Like when they come on here, here's a photo of them. And I said, Tony, I want to pay you to use your photos, because there's a big difference in seeing a photo of somebody that's extremely low quality and blurry versus high resolution. And I had said, like, I get so many text and messages about our graphics, whether it's for BASCH Solutions or Baschamania or a schedule or a champion, whatever. And a lot of them, my team helps with some. A lot of them I just do, like, I'll be on a conference call bored and I'll make a graphic for something. Like it's fun at times.
Yeah.
And I said, like, these graphics are good because the photos are good. I can't do anything good without good graphics. And I was actually going to make a graphic when Emily Shilson won Junior Worlds yesterday, and I had to run out to a meeting, so it was going to be like close to see if I get it done or not. And I went to Tony's site real quick. No photos like recently. Like there was a couple, and the UWW photographer Kadir, I think his name. I don't know how to produce a Kadir thing. Like he's got lights out photos, but they weren't really up yet. So I ran to the meeting. I'm like, oh, I really wish I could have got that one up, but I don't want to like just put it out if there's not a good photo. So I'm always like, Tony Rotundo appreciation tweet. Like, thank you, because having that quality of a photo, people don't realize how easy it is to just like. I think with NIL especially, a lot of wrestlers should make deals with photographers. Like I'll pay photographers like Justin Hoach. I'll say, like, when Chenzo's competing in the last chance Olympic trials qualifier, Justin, how much do you want so that I can have all the photos of Chenzo through this tournament so he can use them? I'll use them in graphics, whatever. Gave me his number. I said, done. No brainer. Now you have all those photos. I feel like a lot of people just kind of use the photo, repost it, and they get away with it at times. But it's also like, I want to encourage the photographers to keep doing it. Like this sport is definitely advancing because of marketing and promotion. And that doesn't happen without good content. Like, you know that. Yeah. I really think it's going to get to a point to where I think you're going to start seeing photographers on teams taking photos of kids and saying, here you go. Like, I already know some schools are doing that. Like David Carr, it's like he has a photographer 24/7 with him. You know, it's like
he's got professional photos.
Right. All of a sudden, he's got a photo of him eating a gummy bear, high res, perfect quality.
Photo of candy. How did this happen?
Right. I love it, and I think you're going to start seeing, like, if I'm a wrestler of any level, college, senior level, doesn't matter. I'm literally DMing Tony Rotundo, Justin Hoach, Kadir, all these guys, and saying, like, how much to use all your photos? How much to send me all the photos from this competition? Because especially now more than ever that you can brand yourself. Like I have a BASCH Solutions photographer who does a lot of our client photo shoots for content, for social media, all that. And every now and then I'll be like, all right, I need content. Like, let's go shoot for an hour. And I'll just do whatever I'm doing that day. And he'll just photograph me for like an hour. And now I have content. It works. Promote the company. If I want to use it for me, like it's a no-brainer. I think we're going to get to that point to where more wrestlers start doing that. Like I saw you tweet out right away, like, all right, who's got the international photographer hookup? And I text you instantly, like, here you go, done. Like,
thank you for that. That was so quick too. And I think it might have been 2 a.m. in Russia. So I was just all out. I was like, I got nothing, dude.
Yeah, it's years of doing it. As we go through right now, working on websites for Yanni, for Gable, just finished Romans, like getting these photographers. And I know everybody's different. Some people just want credit. Some people want money. Some people want different relationships, different engagements. So I've built so many relationships over the years. I'm so grateful for all these guys. John Sox and Larry Slater are two guys too, like on Facebook constantly. As soon as a match, they'll upload like 4. Like during the Olympics, it was huge. Because they'd have like before they're even off the mat, there's 5 photos on the Facebook gallery. Makes graphics easy. By the way, for like the casual Penn State fan, you probably fell off 20 minutes ago. This has turned into a marketing and graphic design talk that I've wanted to have with him for a couple years now. So you got to forgive me for that one. I hope you guys enjoy this. But all right, so if you want Beau to make graphics, logos, menus, flyers, whatever, DM him with as much information as possible, because I know how that gets too. So, because you got to support the college kids, you got to support it. If he's going to go become an attorney, that's a lot of side work to go all the way through that. The good thing is you'll be able to market yourself as an attorney better with all this experience.
Smiling,
right?
Photoshop suit on.
Oh, I love it. All right. So what's next for you? You just got home. you won a bronze medal. That's amazing. Congrats on that. Like, what's next now?
I don't know. Little mini break right now. Class starts on Monday. That's my first in-person class because we haven't had in-person. So
Oh,
actually,
wow.
I've
That's
never had
right.
a college class technically. I'm like online. So
Yeah.
and state college right now there's a lot of people. I went out to get when I got my bagel and coffee this morning. It was crazy. So many roads are because people are moving in now. I've never seen many people here because even last year, like I think it was like only freshmen or something about it. There weren't a lot of people, and I thought it was a lot of people. And right now it looks like New York City right now. It's crazy. And so just adapting, adjusting, moving from the whole peaking for world championships now, take classes, lift, run, and more relaxed right now.
Yeah. And, you know, when you hopped on the Zoom, you're eating like 4 bagel sandwiches with like 6 pounds of bacon. And I guess it's a good point to bring up, like 65 kilos versus wrestling at 49. Where do you feel more comfortable?
I'm pretty good with my weight. So really whatever weight class I'm wrestling at the time, I do it right. I'm really big on nutrition and the whole wellness and like yoga, all kinds of different like health things.
My wife's been trying to get me to do yoga for a year. I need to do it. Frank Molinaro always told me, like, his wife's an instructor, I think, and he loves it. He swears by it. I got to start doing it, but continue. Sorry.
I think even when the weather's good, I think starting with outdoor yoga, that was what got me hooked on it initially. It's hard. It might be harder to go into a hot yoga class, sit there in the sauna, and that might not be the jumping off point for everyone. But
yeah. So your weight doesn't really matter. You don't really care which one.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just if I'm eating like 4 bagels or 2 bagels or 1 bagel, no bagels. It's just wherever I'm at, I feel very comfortable.
That makes sense. Well, I'm excited, man, for what's next for him. You have 4 years left at Penn State. You might be the youngest college kid I've had on the podcast, but your maturity is definitely not like you're that young. Your perspective heading now into the rest of your Penn State career, which you have a lot left of, what's the perspective?
I think just continuing to enjoy every day. Obviously everyone has goals, and this going into this World Championships, this is really the first time I've seen my mentality through it all. It was a little bit different because normally I remember I said it right after trials. I was saying I'm just trying to enjoy every day. The outcome is obviously be a world champ, but every day I said some coke spiel about like enjoying like every day, love it. Wake up, lift hard, love it. Sore from the workout, love it. And
yeah,
normally, you take a loss anywhere and like I'll feel it next time. There's regret and there's like I could have done more and all these different things. But immediately after losing the semis, I was like, wow, that's not cool. But you have to have some of that. You're not gonna be like, well, okay, I lost, whatever. I feel like you can't have the whatever mindset. But after that, I was like, man, like this is like all summer. We're still going. We're not done yet. We have a whole nother match. We have one more match, and I wrestled the next day at night. So I was just like, man, I spent all summer doing this. I genuinely, it's not just me saying, all right, have fun. I think a lot of people think, oh, Penn State wrestlers just have fun.
Right.
I'm very enthusiastic about like every day. I love what I'm doing. I love the people I'm around. I love everyone supporting me. I love what I get to do. I've been able to travel around. My family came to Russia too.
Oh, really?
I don't know how
that's super cool.
No idea how they pulled that one off, but they did that. So it was honestly a fun trip, and it didn't feel like I lost in a way, which is kind of weird. I've never felt that. I was like, I didn't lose. I was like, well, I mean, I saw, like, I was like, all right, this, all right, the guy took this shot, and I got taken down. All right, this next match, let's just try to do what I do. So it was awesome. It was an awesome trip all around. Like, there's no regrets. I liked the trip. So I think moving forward with the whole like Penn State career, I'm just gonna continue to enjoy it, and let's see how this pays off. I know what my goals are, and even if goals aren't met, I mean, like you can't directly impact like change the outcome, but I mean, just every day, what I'm doing, I love what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing the right thing and be around the right people.
It's funny you say that because I had Gilman on last week, who I love every conversation with that kid. If you haven't listened to the Gilman episode, you have to go back and listen to it. He's actually been on like 5 times. And he said like that Snyder gave him the advice of don't let the days wash away. I think he gave that advice in Japan. And I've been thinking about that every single day because I'm in so many seasons of just like both waiting and grinding. Like we have a baby on the way and due in January. I'm ready for the baby to just like pop out and like be here. I don't want to wait like 5 more months. We have so many cool things going on. And if you just fade out, the days just like blur together and they do kind of just wash away. So when he had said that, I'm like, wow, I like that. Like I've thought about that every single day, that it's so important. And I love like that specific example because I think that's a specific example of something like a way to have fun is to truly enjoy it. Have fun at Penn State wrestling has become a cliche that I think wrestling coaches are going to start putting on t-shirts like Rockport wrestling, have fun. I really think that's like, but like you said, it's not just the cliche aspect of it. It's super cool. What do you think the best part of the trip was if you had to like focus in on something?
I think having Coach Cody there was pretty cool. We didn't know if we were going to be able to make that happen because
Dude, talk about sacrifice.
He's the man. Coach Cody's the man.
He's a legend. Turns around from Tokyo a week later, and he was in Japan for like what 3 weeks? Like that was no short. Like he was legit gone from his wife and kids in America. Like
back for about I think a day and a half or 2 days.
Hits American soil and he's gone. Did you not know if he was going to be able to make the trip initially?
Yeah, we didn't know.
What were you thinking? Like,
we had options. It was either he was going to go or Coach McKnight was going to go. We were going to get someone there.
Yeah.
And either way, they're both awesome. The trust guys, they're really great coaches. But just the fact that he was able to pull that one off, that was funny. That was like, and Baggage got lost too. So he was going through it.
You gotta love being rewarded for discipline. Like the fact that he even wanted to go, I think speaks so much volume. Like it's obvious how good the coaching staff is at Penn State. Everybody knows it. But when you get granular with some of the people, like Casey and Cody should be in every conversation on the internet about wrestling. I'm obviously exaggerating, but like I keep DMing Casey, like, dude, you got to come on the podcast. Like you have to, because like one of the things I love the most in the room. I posted on Instagram a couple years ago. It's like for me, once you guys are done practicing and I'm like kind of walking around and I sit down next to the wall and like Casey sits down or Cody sits down, you have that like 15-minute against the wall, sitting on the mat chat. That's the best. Like that was inspiration to start this podcast. It's like, I want to bring those conversations to people who don't get some of those blessings and opportunities to have those conversations. Like those conversations are like part of why this podcast exists. Like there's it's always funny. Like one of the first things Casey will mention when I see him is something he saw like on Instagram. Like when I bought a Corvette and I was in Penn State a couple months later, I think he's like, did you bring the vet down? Like, how'd you even know I got that? You know, like he pays attention. They take things in. It's so funny because they don't engage too much, but they're like,
he's always my first viewer. Anytime I post anything, I see kind of right there. I'm like,
yeah,
yep.
I love it. They're such an awesome staff. You're definitely blessed to have those guys in that room. I do want to get them on the podcast for sure. And one other thing you said that I think is so important, maybe for wrestlers listening to take with them, you and Gilman both kind of said the same thing. Like I asked Gilman, after your loss, what was your perspective? Because when he came back, it didn't look like he was battling defeat or a loss. He looked just ready to go. He looked lights out and he was so happy. And I had brought up that there was a study I had seen, and he actually sent it to me after, about who's happier, bronze or silver medal winners.
Yeah. Bronze is definitely an interesting. People should do more research on that. Yeah, I kind of want to see this article because I understand.
Yeah, and it's like, and so I had brought that up, and he said, like, you can give yourself 2-3 minutes of pity, like, this sucks, whatever, and then it's time to just move on. Because I know for me, like, I'm a terrible athlete, but in business, I have to do that. If I take an L somewhere, like, I can't dwell on it very long. I have to just like deal with it, and then like maybe pout for 4 minutes, and then it's over. It's on to the next thing, and you learn, you grow, you adjust. So I think that's important for any wrestler listening, not to get hung up on a loss. Life goes on, especially the quicker you rebound from that loss mentally. I think the better you're going to compete.
Of course.
Not that I'm a high level wrestler, but I've talked to a lot of high level wrestlers.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, that's it for today's episode. If you're not following Beau, go follow him on Instagram. I'll link up his handle. Go to Beau Knows Edits. Great graphics. I get requests all the time. Logos, graphics, we have such a great clientele that we don't do a lot of small tasks because we're very relationship driven, do work every month. We're not set up to accommodate these smaller tasks. So sometimes you people who are wanting the smaller tasks, the one-off, here you go. This is perfect. We set up this podcast for you. So go DM Beau, get some graphics made. Make sure you're following him. Beau, any final words?
Just thanks for having me. I see all the work you're always doing with these great people. I'm really humbled to be.
Dude, I've wanted to have you on for a while, and then finally, I think literally I just responded to after I had given you the link for the photographer. I'm like, dude, just come on the podcast. Like, great timing. Just won a world bronze medal. Like,
much better timing.
Right, perfect timing. So thank you for making the time. I know you literally just got back, and you were eating, like I said, like 4 bagel sandwiches, 6 pounds of bacon as you were kicking this off. So I know you fit into your schedule. So thank you, man. And I'm sure you'll be back on again. And if you do need more graphic design work, this company, all the work you need. All right, man. I'll catch you later. Thanks everybody for listening. See ya.
And the beat goes on.